This game is simply incredible. It is a masterpiece, and I'll say this now: if you haven't played it, just go play it. Like, don't think should you, shouldn't you, or anything like that. No. Just go play it. Just go play it. I promise you, you won't regret it. I mean, where do I start? Okay, well, let's start with the story, and I'll try and be... I'll split the story into two parts. I'll talk about non-spoilers, and I'll talk about spoilers, but non-spoiler-wise, it's just incredible. Well, no, to be honest, if you're watching this, you're probably... It says spoilers, so like, why am I even giving that antidote? It's like, no. If you're here, you've probably played the game. So, I might as well just spoil it all anyway. So, like... This game... It just always kept me on tenterhooks. I haven't tried this move before. There we go. This game just had me on tenterhooks from the very beginning. You know, the premise of the paintress, who is the premise of the paintress, who is always just like, you know, slowly counting down, and eventually everyone will disappear. And so eventually, like, someone's got to go down there and stop her. And that's the scene at the very beginning, where everyone just like... You just see this wave of people just perish in an instant, just like that. It is genuinely one of the best scenes in video games. It is genuinely one of the best scenes in video games I have seen for such a long time. And like having that premise, because with it, they never said what the gamage was. Up until that point, it was just like, oh yeah, the gamage is coming up. Are you going to be there for the gamage? Will the gamage affect you? But they never said. Oh, I missed that. But they never said what the gamage was. And I remember going round and looking round as I was making my way through Lumiere, and sort of looking at everyone, and it was like, oh, everyone's quite young. I wonder what's going on. Like, it's a bit odd, you know? Because I knew nothing about the game. Like, I went into it blind. So I'm like, oh, why is everyone so young? You know, that seems really odd. And then, of course, it gets revealed that everyone older is dead through this gamage. And just the way that scene plays out is just incredible. And just having that, again, no words spoken whatsoever. It is just, you know, you talk about video games being cinema and being, you know, applicable to the movies. and everything like that. That right there, that is a perfect... That is what video games would be if video games were cinema. I don't believe that. I believe that video games stand on their own and they don't need to chase movies or anything like that. But if you want to talk about scenes that you could put into a movie, that scene right there. No doubt. No doubt that you could just take that and put it straight into a film. Also, I find out this movie is completely busted, which was fun to find out. These. So having that scene was incredible, and then going into the actual island itself and going on the expedition and finding all the dead bodies. Again, so much of this game was told through the environment. You know. And that's what I think video games should be. I think far too many games focus on wanting to be, you know, movies and blockbusters, and so they focus instead on the movie aspect and on the cutscene aspect and having all these famous faces. But you don't need it. If you manage to tell your story through the narrative, you will get players hooked. Like, you will absolutely get players hooked. That was the wrong move. I just need to use that one move. Yeah, because that one move is broken, so I need to use that one move. So, you know, right from the get-go, it was incredible. And then to see the story develop, like the death of Gustav in Act 1, that was, and I thought that would be like, oh, okay, well they'll kill Gustav here, and then he'll return in a later act. No, he's dead. No, they just straight up killed him. They just straight up killed him outright. Incredible. You tell me another game that has the guts to kill off a principal character that early in the story. Just straight up, just nope, you're dead now. It's everything that this game has done in terms of its story. And then obviously the big twist at the end, where it's suddenly revealed that, well, actually, this world isn't real. It's all part of this painting, and Mael is actually called Alicia, and her brother Verso died in a fire, and mother and father have been and everything like that. Because up until that point, it was just kind of like, okay, but there's a few bits jigsaw missing. Like after you defeat the paintress in Act 2, there's a few bits missing, and you get that from Mael. It's like, something doesn't feel right. You know, this is missing and this is missing. Like something doesn't feel right. And of course you eventually learn that, oh yeah, something is wrong. Because none of this world is real. And it turns out that all of this has been a painting made by Verso, which everyone has been grieving in. And then, of course, it becomes this story about grievance. I mean, it was always about grievance. But then it becomes a story about his family and everything like that. And then, of course, you get to the very end of the game, and you're given that choice. You're given the choice of, do you side with Verso or do you side with Mael? I will say this. I sided with Mael, and I think I'm right for siding with Mael. Having now seen the two endings. Okay. Here's my thought on the endings. I don't think there's necessarily a good and bad ending, per se. I think there's a true ending, and I think the true ending is Verso's ending. Oh, bollocks. I think there is a true ending, and I think it's Verso's ending, where the painting is destroyed, and the family then go into grievance. I think that's right. I think that's the right ending to pick. I don't think it's necessarily a good ending, but I don't think either of the endings are good. I think each of them have their own problems. Oh, I don't have a lot of bollocks. Let me just waste this. So I should get myself back some AP. Yes. That means I can do this. So I'm going to be stanceless, but what the hell? Gonna get damage down. I'm lost now. So I've sort of lost my pattern. I'll do this again. Oh no, I can. I can do this. There you go. So obviously the endings are different. You've got Verso's ending, which is the painting destroyed, and then you've got Mael's ending, where the painting is not destroyed, and Mael decides to grieve in the painting. And looking at it, I can imagine why people would look at that decision and think, well, you sort of picked the wrong ending. I argue no. I argue I didn't pick the wrong ending. Why not? I picked the ending that I thought was right. And here's the reason why. Yes, by choosing to stay in the painting, Mael is essentially... she's not gotten over a grievance. And she's continuing to grieve. And she'll never truly be able to move on until she leaves the painting. But think about her life, alright? Throughout her life, she's not really been allowed to make her own decisions, per se. If you remember back to when we were heading up to the painters, you saw that the kids wanted... The kids were not being forced to paint, but very encouraged by the mother, by Alina. was her name? I can't remember now. And so from a young age, you know, she never really got to decide what she wanted to do. And then of course the fire happened, and then she's blamed for everything that happened during that. Because she was the one that survived and Verso died. Now she's in this painting where she's been able to live her life as Mael and not as Alicia. And now she's being told that no, it's got to be destroyed because we've got to grieve as a family. And Mael just sits there and goes, oh, why can't I do what I want to do? Like, why do I have to do what the family wants to do? And so she decides, no, this is my decision. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to stay in the painting with my new world, where I can be who I want to be, where I'm not this person with burn damage who can hardly speak and pain and everything like that. Instead, I can be this wonderful active person with all my friends, with my quote-unquote family, do that, you know, with my quote-unquote family, and I can live the rest of my life. And that's what she thinks. And you know what? I'm with her. Considering how she, oh for God's sake. Considering how she got treated, I think she is fully justified to decide that she wants to live her life that way. I think, look, without getting into it, you know, I've sort of been through similar experiences personally. Again, I'm not going to get into it because it's unfortunately an ongoing thing, but I'd rather not talk about it right now. I say to say I have experience with that sort of thing, which is why I got so passionate during the final battle. Like when Renoir is like being there and being like, no, you know, no, Alicia, you will come back and da 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 da. It's like, no, you let Alicia do her own thing. If she wants to stay, she can stay. I'm getting sloppy here. Like, if she wants to do her own thing, she can do her own thing. You let her. Like, that's not your choice to make, Renoir. That's Alicia's choice to make. And if she wants to live her life as Mael, she can live her life as Mael. That's her choice. But obviously the downside of that is that she never gets a chance to properly grieve. Because you see at the end, you know, and you see the tears falling down and like, and you see the pain, you know, she is sort of, she's living this falsehood, but it's her falsehood. And she chose to live that way. And I think that's an important, I think that's an important aspect of it, is that she chose to live in that world. She chose to live in that world where no. Actually, yes. I haven't done this in a while. Hang on. Damn it. There we go. She chose to live in that world. And even though she's suffering, she knows the consequences of it. She knows the consequences of what she is doing. And I think that's a very important, thing to point out, is that yes, she's suffering, but again, she knows what she's doing, and she's actively making her decision. Whereas when you look in Verso's ending, that ending shot of her looking out over Verso's grave, and she can just see all of her friends and they all disappear. It's like, again, her freedom is being taken away from her. Her freedom and her life is essentially being taken away from her, and she has no choice on that matter. She has no choice whatsoever. She's not allowed to choose that. Whereas apparently everyone else can. And I think that's... But in the moment, I did not agree with that decision. I think I made the right decision. But apparently there's a whole lot more story to find out. Obviously, there was Monoko, SK, all that, and like just all these like colourful little characters and sort of like that scene where you meet Monoko after you've done the fight, like the first fight with him, and you learn about gradient attacks and gradient counters. And everyone's going to say, no, I'm not going to Allumi yet. Oh, they'll be fighting. Oh yeah, there's fighting. And just that, it's a wonderful scene that plays out. It's a beautiful scene that plays out. And just he's separate. He was done by Andy Serkis. I didn't realise the Andy Serkis voiced Monoko. That was something that I was pleasantly surprised by. And apparently, as I say, there's a whole lot more story to discover in the post game, which I am working my way up to. But as you can see, I am just grinding at the moment. I'm having to grind my way up to the post game just to try and conquer it, because I've tried a few bits. I've gone into the paintings. So there's like paintings dashed all around the continent, and I've been into those. And I met the Lamp Master. Got my arse kicked. So I decided, you know what? No, let's go do some grinding. So I've been going off to do some grinding. No, my things are breaking. So this is basically just my life right now. And then eventually I think at some point I have to go somewhere else to get like the next weapon upgrade. I've been using the guide to try and help me. Oh, yeah, reviving all the things there. Well, let's talk about combat. I love the combat in the game. I was watching, I saw a clip from Pirate Software. Oh, damn it. And he was talking about it's a turn-based game, but it's turn-based. It's turn-based Souls-like. I kind of hate that. He's not wrong per se. It's just I don't like Souls games. I think they're very clunky. But it's what I love about this game's combat. It's turn-based and it's thoughtful, but it's an active system. You can't switch off of it. You've always got to be engaged with the system. Because as you've seen here, you know, you've got to dodge and parry, and there's different types and everything like that. So you've always got to be on your toes, basically. You've always got to be engaged in combat. You can't just switch off. Whereas, not, you know, if you think like to a normal, a standard, like a standard turn-based JRPG, at this point in the game when you're doing post-game, you'd just be mindlessly going through battles, and you'd just be, you know, okay, well this is a good spot. Okay, you set all the allies to this auto attack and everything like that. But in this game, even in the post game, you've got to be constantly on. You've got to be constantly switched on, like that. You've got to be constantly switched on, and so it's keeping you engaged in the game. How do you know take you down? You know, it's you've always got to have a constant presence in the game. It's keeping you engaged. So, like, yes, it is turn-based, but it's active. You know, it's you are a part of it. You're not just pressing buttons and letting the players do the characters do their thing. It's you've got to stay in the game. You've got to stay into the game, otherwise your character's going to get killed. And that I love. You know, I think you've always got to be thinking. You've always got to be thinking about this and that, and well, but then it also comes to the characters as well. Like, you know, there's only 5 characters, but each character is so different and plays so differently. It sort of feels like 5 different experiences, if you will. Let's take an example. Verso. Perfection and the perfection rank. I hated this at first, but now that I have a weapon that protects me against it, I love it. I think it's brilliant. Because you basically have a character that you can build up over time, and especially when it comes to bosses. Like, you know, because bosses take, like, you know, 10 plus turns, you can slowly build up that perfection, get to S rank, and then suddenly by the end of it, you're bang, 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 bang. So there's that. Lune, Stains. Arguably not the best, but it has its purpose. And it makes you think about, okay, well this combos with this, and I can get this, and everything like that. Again, I don't think it's the best system. I think arguably it's probably the weakest system, I would say, because it is a bit predictable. It's not... The stain that you get is... I mean, it is in your hands, but when you have a full deck and you get more stains, it sort of replaces them. And I haven't figured out a way of, like, how they replace, basically. So it's a bit. It's for me personally, it's a bit hit and miss. It has its advantages, but the thing is with the stains, it's if you want to take full advantage, you have to play a very specific way. Which sort of it does limit them per se. There we go. It does limit them, because basically then you're forced into a very particular style in order to take advantage of the stains. Mael, Alicia, the stance. Again, it's really good. The problem is that Virtuoso Stance is the most powerful, and the only way that you can guarantee getting to Virtuoso Stance is through Swift Stride. Is through fire. So again, it sort of forces you down a certain path. Because basically, like at this level, you just want to go into it. You don't care about offensive, defensive stance, anything like that. You just care about Virtuoso Stance and having that 200% damage. So the fact that it only works on burning, again, that you've then got to play to that. And then obviously these moves, which apparently have been... So I played this game after Stendhal was nerfed to all high health. But I mean, 447,000 damage. It's still a very powerful move. And arguably it is the most powerful move in the game. So it's a bit disappointing, you know. I think there's scope for more, but I think unfortunately because of the way that it's set up, it does limit it per se. Ciel and the Fortel, I think that's brilliant. It's a shame that looking at it now, and sort of like late game builds, Ciel is not really that strong, unfortunately. But the idea of, okay, you can apply cards and then these cards deal damage or they can heal, and they have variance. Again, versatility. The cards have a lot of versatility amongst them. And the way that it all plays out and everything like that. It's just a problem that she's a light dark character. Well, all these characters here are dark. So, as in their attribute is dark, I should say. To make that very, very clear. They are dark attributed. So any dark attacks against them is a bit useless. And a lot of Ciel's attacks rely on light and dark. So, unfortunately, in this situation, Ciel is a bit useless. But I think Ciel is great. And then Monoko, first off, Blue Mage, which I think is a brilliant idea, because then it encourages you to go revisit all those other zones again, to go collect Monoko's abilities, which I think is brilliant. And then the idea of the I mean, I haven't played a lot with Monoko because I got in so late. I felt like at that point I already had established characters. But the idea of the wheel and different masks, I think that's so clever. And you have to sort of... It's almost like a chess game, if you will. And it's like, you have to think about that like 3-4 turns in advance. You have to be planning for that like so far in advance. And it's crazy. And I think like just there we go. And I can imagine that being just crazy at high level, like when you have all the skills and you have them maxed out and everything like that, like getting everything maxed out must just be crazy. And like if you're able to play effectively with him and like have the right abilities and move around, because again you yes, it kind of does force you, but the thing is that there's so much versatility in his moves, from what I can see at least. I'd love to. I can't honestly wait to see what happens when I get him at the high level. There we go. I'm very interested to see what he's like at high level when he's got all of his abilities and everything like that. Not far to go on you. Still a bit further on you, and still a bit further on you. So I think honestly the combat has been so engaging. I think the combat is honestly one of the best things about this game. It has been incredible playing this combat, and I knew from the start when I played this game that the combat would just draw me in because it is so active. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. Talk about the environment. I mean, just look at it. You know, you want to talk about games that just look so pretty. I'm so glad I can play this game on PC. I'm so glad I found a way to play it on PC, because for as much as I love my Xbox Series S, I think it made this game look like dog trash. And I don't think it's what this game deserves. I think this game deserves, you know, high quality. Damn it. You know, it deserves to be appreciated at the highest level. And even at 4040p, this game is just glorious. And I've actually been playing the game off stream at 4K. And at 4K, it is so stunning. It is incredible. It is honestly incredible what this game is doing. And like every zone, the thing that I love as well, every zone just has its own different feel. Like obviously you get the, you know, the generic, like, you know, oh, it's a forest, it's a meadow, and then move that into underwater flying fish everywhere, and you're just going through it and it's like, what? And the fact that it just changes so dramatically as well, and then it's like you're in an autumn forest and you meet the creatures, and I can't remember the name of them now, to be honest, but you meet the creatures. And of course you've got all these like flying, like, you've got all these like flying bits of furniture and rock everywhere. I just look behind these enemies for a second and look at at the top of the screen, and you see all that floating stuff and everything. It's It's just there is an elegance about this game. There is just such an elegance about this game. Like, if this... I don't know if this game has an art book. But if it does, I want it. This is a game you could frame and you could put as an art piece. That's how beautiful this game is. But part of that as well is just through the environment as well. Like, part of what gives this game its charm is so much environmental storytelling. Again, when you're in that first zone and you come across that stack of bodies, and you're just watching them, and you're just looking through them, and it's like, oh, like, so this happened, and you're just slowly working your way through them, and then you get to the forgotten battlefield and everything that comes with that. Like, that place, just like, and it's, you just sort of look across and it's like, oh, and like the bodies just stack up. And then when it comes to the axons, and you have like one of them being the masks and the faces, and the other one's being, what's he get Airy behind it? No, it's just part of that. And then the other one being, sorry, I didn't know if I was missing out on stuff. The other one being the dancers, and you find out that it's actually a reflection of Alina and and the father. Why can't I remember your name? But you find out that it's basically a reflection of the mother and the father. There's so much detail just gone into this game, and so many little things that have just gone into this game. Some of them might have completely passed me. Some of them I may be completely oblivious to. One that I wasn't, transitioning, because I want to talk about music. I went back and listened because I was completely in the moment. Because I remember hearing that song at the very beginning of the game. And so it's the music, it's the battle theme. Yeah. It's the battle theme in the tutorial fight against Mael. And excuse me. Yeah, no. I want to do that. And it's like really, and it's up there, and and it's like you can get some blood pumping and everything like that. I didn't realise that the music they use in the last fight against Mael and Verso is the same music, but they put lyrics over it. Like, just little things like that. Like, the fact that they thought that far ahead. That they were like, okay, yeah, you know, we're gonna use the same music. Hang on. There we are. The fact that they used the same music from the very first fight, and they used that or a variation of it in the last fight. Like, let me just try this, just for my own. Yeah, for my own curiosity, I just wanted to try that. Yeah, let's do this. Hopefully fire damage kills, yes. That's the attention to detail that I love. The fact that it was the same piece of music, it was just two different versions of the track. That is detail beyond belief. I don't think you'd get that in a AAA game. I don't think you'd get that in a AAA game. I think they just overlooked something like that. But the fact that they didn't, that just tells you how much thought went into the game. They knew from moment one where they were taking you. They knew exactly where they were taking you. Very high single target damage. Privilege generated infection. Yeah. There we go. That was just incredible. Let's do that. But the music, I went and listened to the soundtrack because because I wanted to hunt down my favorite track, and just so many like different tracks, and just the variety as well. Like if you think about you know, obviously like the main thing, like the main themes for every single zone. There's a theme for this zone. You know, every single zone, level, whatever you want to call it, every single area has its own theme. You know, not just a standard theme, but also like a battle theme, and in and out of battle and everything. And like it's just so thoughtful, and the variety as well, like I was talking about. You know, there's like jazz, there's electronic, there's orchestra, and yet it all works. Like it's strangely, it all works. I don't know how, but it does. It is just the music is honestly one of the best things about this game. I honestly don't know how much I can just gush about this game. Let me try this again. It works. It sort of works. Sort of doesn't. Sort of works. Sort of doesn't. Depending on which way you look at it. I honestly cannot sing this game's praises enough. It honestly is a struggle for me to think of difficult things. I think probably the platforming was a bit tricky. In the gestural, that's the word. In the sort of like gestural beach sections. Like, it wasn't the cleanest, like it was a bit clunky. So there was that. I don't think the game overstayed its welcome. I think, looking at it, it's 35 hours, something like that. And considering that I did a fair bit of side content, not all of it, but I did a fair bit of it. I did a fair bit of side content, like, yeah, 35 hours. Okay. There we go. 35 hours is, I think that's really reasonable, and that sort of pulls me into sort of like a big point that I want to talk about with this game. I don't know, in the games industry in general, which is really, it's funny that this conversation comes up, because on the day that I am recording this, if you're watching this on YouTube, but on the day that I am recording this, Xbox have just announced a ton of layoffs. Apparently there are going to be layoffs across the entire Xbox division, in King and ZeniMax, and like the mobile division and everything like that. Let me do that. There we go. So there's going to be like loads of layoffs and employees being made redundant, and it's just because I was scrolling through Steam and looking at prices, and you had games like Doom, The Dark Ages, the new Metal Gear Solid, all they're going to be released for, well, Doom Dark Age already come out, but the new the new Metal Gear Solid, the remake, that'll be coming out for £70. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds coming out for £65. You've got games like Ninja Gaiden, the new Ninja Gaiden. I don't know what else. I think the new Resident Evil. I can't remember if that had been announced. I can't remember if that price had been announced yet. So many other new games as well. All you know, from AAA studios. £60. And then you look at this game. £37.79. You know, I think the Steam summer sale's kind of dirty, because I think it was £37.79. It's currently on sale, but my thinking is they've hiked the price and then brought it back down, so it technically hasn't changed price. Which I think it's a bit of a scummy move. Like, just don't put it on sale. If you don't want the game on sale, just don't put it on sale. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, damn. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I hit these. There you go. That's a lot better. But like, it came out for under £40. That's insane. Like, it's insane that a game this good came out for less than £40. And you look at it and you think, this is a AAA game. You know, this is made by a AAA studio. No. It was made by 30 former Ubisoft devs who decided they were bored of working at Ubisoft and so went off and did their own thing. And this is what they made. And it took them, I don't know, I think 5 years, something like that, maybe 5-6 years. But they just went off, did their own thing, and that was it. Let me just... there we go. You're probably the one I'm going to be to target then. With this, I'm going to use Stendhal specifically on you. There we go. You know, it's incredible that this game came out for under £40. Considering the price of games recently, you know, games of this quality, that's incredible. It's an incredible feat. And I think, honestly, it speaks to where the industry is right now, and I think where the industry should be going. Because you look at the AAA side of things, there are so many layoffs happening. And I know why. Because gaming experienced such a boom during the COVID era that everyone suddenly had to adjust to all that. But ever since then, games have just been going down and down and down. And obviously now you've got the economy that's coming into that and everything that's coming in with that. It's just becoming more, you know, games just becoming more and more expensive. And so they're just not able to, you know, they're having to cut back on projects and things like that. I think speculation at the moment is Rare's new game, whatever it was called, that's now been shelved, that's now been cancelled. That's been killed off. So that's not going to see light of day. The metrics for AAA gaming right now are just they're stupid. They're just stupid. Right, me trying to be clever and change the track at the same time. Oh, come on. There we go. And you look at how many games, especially how many, you know, indie/AA games are releasing with these lower price points, and they're doing well. You know, Peak is the game of the moment right now. I think they're launched for what, £15, £20, something like that. And that's doing incredible. It's an incredible business, that game. It's just... It is so difficult as a consumer to justify spending £60–70 on a video game. No matter what that video game is. And the problem is that it's just going to get... The prices are just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. You know, when you look at GTA 6, I think they're looking to launch, what, £80? I wouldn't be surprised if it did. There we go. Like, they're probably going to launch at something ridiculous. But that's how it's going to be, because, hey, there's shareholders and investors and everything like that, you know? You've got to make all of them happy. But I honestly believe that the AAA industry is just killing itself right now. And I honestly think that the way to go as a studio, be it small, medium, big, is to look at that AA size where, you know, you have those AAA ambitions, but it is, you know, it's done on a lower budget, it's done with a smaller team, and it's done on a smaller scope. I think that's honestly the way to go. And I think games such as this are absolutely proving it. What am I doing? Doing that. I think games like Clairobscur are a perfect example of that. Where you can have games at a smaller scale that do amazingly well and are loved and respected. And I can't see why developers, more specifically AAA developers, are spending more time on these AAA products that just aren't going anywhere. Like, they're just getting killed instantly because they're just not meeting the metrics, because the metrics are just far too high. Like, damn it. I remember when Square Enix, and Square Enix is a terrible example because they always think their games are going to be the bee's knees, but I remember when Square Enix, they were looking at the new, when they relaunched Tomb Raider, and they were relaunching it, and that game did really good. I think it sold, what, 4 million in the first 6 months, something like that. Square Enix called it a disappointment because Square Enix thought it was going to sell 10 million or some ludicrous number. It was absolutely ludicrous how much they thought that game was going to sell. They thought it was going to be the next Call of Duty. They thought it was going to be the next FIFA. And they completely missed the mark. And they just completely missed it. And it just went straight over them. And they called it a failure. They called it a failure because it didn't live up to the hype. And it's like, there are games that would love to sell 4 million. 4 million for so many games is a success. And you're out here calling your game a failure. Like, are you insane? It's ridiculous. Just like the metrics of the AAA industry are just ridiculous. Let me see if I can hit these. That's one. And I think unfortunately they're tanking themselves. That's 2. Three. That's a lot better. I think unfortunately they're tanking themselves, and I think they're going to find out. I think the AAA industry will survive. I just don't think it'll be the same AAA industry that we're used to, because I think it's just capitulating itself basically. It's just driving itself. Oh, that's not good. It's just driving itself into the ground basically, because it's just expecting so much. And it's just not going to happen. So I think having those smaller expectations by having a smaller game, and I think as well, here's the other aspect of it as well. Like, think about it this way. When was the last time you played a 100+ hour game? Like, they just don't come about anymore. I'm gonna take you. It's just to play a game that long, you know, to dedicate so much to a game that much. It's just a lot of people just do not have the time anymore. The time is just not there for them. So dedicating all that time to a video game, I just don't think a lot of people have the time for it anymore. And so I think a lot of people would appreciate smaller experiences, such as this, you know. I played this over the course of, what, a month and a half? And it was brilliant. It never outstayed its welcome. I loved playing every moment of it. It never felt like it dragged on. And even now, like, I'm still loving playing it, because it's so engaging. Like, you know, I want to continue playing. I should have been playing Splatoon 3 today, but I'm not, because I want to play this game instead. Because that's how much it's been, you know, it's just been an earworm in my head. It's just been like, I need to play this game. Like, this game, for me personally, has reinvigorated my love for JRPGs. Which I think is a statement and a half, you know. I think it's incredible what this game has done. It's just invigorated my love for JRPGs and RPGs again. And now I'm looking through my back catalogue and being like, oh, what JRPG do I want to play next on stream? Like, you know, what RPG do I want to go back and visit? Like, that's what this game has done, you know. It is a game, for me personally, just came along at the right time. And I honestly think it is that good. Like, again, if you haven't played it, first of all, why are you watching this? I told you there'd be spoilers. But honestly, like, if you haven't played it, play it. Go play it. Like, it is simply an incredible game. It is Game of the Year, absolutely. It is absolute game of the year. And I think it's going to be very difficult to beat that. I think it's going to be very, very difficult to beat this as game of the year. You know, good luck to any game that can beat it. I just don't think it exists. Because I think this is so... Especially when it comes to Western takes on JRPGs, I just don't think there's anything like this. I honestly think this is in a league of its own. And I think if you're talking about like standards and like what you judge games against, I think if you're looking to make a Western take on a JRPG or just an RPG in general, this is the new standard. This is the game you've got to look at and think, can we do this? You know, either can we reach this level or can we make a game that is as exciting and thrilling as this? I honestly think that's what you've got to think when looking at this game. Because that is the standard that this game is hitting. That is the standard that you have to beat. And I think if you're not hitting that standard, you need to question why you're not hitting that standard. Because like I said, this game is just, you know, this game is just something else. Damn, doesn't allow me to hit him. Bit of a disappointment. Again, I could gush on and on and on and on about this game. But genuinely, I think this game is Game of the Year. I think it's one of the best Western RPGs ever made. I think it's one of the best JRPGs ever made. Western JRPGs, I should say. And the fact that I want to, you know, I generally do not. When I'm done with the game, I sort of just put it down and that's it. The fact that I've continued to play this game, like, I think speaks testament to this game, and just the fact that I want to continue looking at its secrets and just, even in my own spare time, not on stream, just you know, going through this game and just, I mean, I honestly cannot remember the last time I grinded in a video game. Because generally that's not my JRPG like peeve, is like, if you have to grind in a video game, if you have to grind in a JRPG, then I think honestly somewhere you've lost something along the way. Let's see if we can hit these. It's just like, I think honestly, like, I think this game is just amazing, honestly. And I think the fact that it's as good as it is just, it's a testament to what it is. I honestly don't know what more I can say. The game is just that. Got distracted. That was my fault, I got distracted. But I think the fact that I'm enticed to play, I think just speaks volumes about the game. And I think the game is just that damn good. It's honestly, like I say, game of the year, an absolute guaranteed, and I think one of the best RPGs, JRPGs, Western JRPGs to ever come out. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm just gonna try and wrap up this fight. Oh, damn. This is me not remembering my skills. There we go. Now I have enough to activate Mayhem. And then I can just end with this. There we go. Honestly, like I say, game of the year, just simply incredible. If you haven't already played it, play it.